Hi, I'm EllaAradia and welcome to your August 2025 Psychic Tarot reading. So this reading is for my Taurus Earth signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. Although sometimes these messages can get specific, but what I do find is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Taurus signs. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It really helps the channel out. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Taurus, let's jump in. The words I'm seeing here are communication and boundaries, and I feel for many of you there are some soul lessons happening at the moment around speaking your truth, clear communication, healthy communication, and not compromising your boundaries. Because I feel that many of you are dealing with persons or a person who is continuously crossing the line, continuously, pushing your boundaries here. And with your overall energies, we have the Seven of Cups, and this is a card of possibility, opportunity, potential. And what lies in your recent past, we have the Five of Pentacles, your current situation, the Hierophant, your feelings towards your situation, the Six of Pentacles. And this is really what I'm talking about here, because when we have a dynamic going on like that, and our feelings, our needs are not being respected or acknowledged, it starts to feel like a one-sided connection. And this is the energy that I'm feeling from this Six of Pentacles here. I often think of this as the breadcrumb card, in relationships. And it is these dynamics of, giving and receiving, and the balance of that, in the connection that you hold with others. And the feelings that I get are, for many of you, that you're maybe dealing with someone who's a little bit wrapped up in themselves, like they're a little bit wrapped up in their own world somehow. And it's very much all about them, what they're doing things to their schedule, their time. And not so much about you and what you're doing with your day and what you need. And with the Five of Pentacles here, I feel like there is this kind of sense of a pulling back on your part and feeling, a disconnect between you and this person, where there is this sense of almost needing to, perhaps let something go, moving on, having to let something go sometimes. It's often a card as well when we're feeling, on the outside. And this is also what I'm talking about, not feeling seen, validated, for what your needs are, for who you are, what your dreams and your goals are for the future. And with the Hierophant here, this in relationships is all about connections which are built on shared values, And this is so important because we need those strong foundations in order for, you know, our connections to really stand the test of time. It's also a card about faith. It's a card of perhaps, you know, seeking out some guidance at this time, Taurus. You know, maybe from a trusted friend or a mentor, because the Hierophant is our connection to the divine, let's say, and it's how we access those wiser, you know, higher parts inside of ourselves. So your connection very much to your inner wisdom, and using that to help you navigate through this situation. But there very much is this sense to me for many of you of a need to, you know, let something go and move on. Because there is something about this connection that feels very, very one-sided. And what lies in the challenge is the world, and this is a card of cycles of endings and beginnings, and sometimes it does represent, you know, the closing and the completion of something. But it can also represent, in terms of connections and relationships, things moving to the next level. And that is where I feel this challenge is for many of you. Of, you know, it's got to a point where, you know, something really does need to shift here, and things need to move to that next level in order to really move forwards. And behind that we have the Emperor, the hidden influence. And to me, I feel like this is who you're dealing with, Taurus. And of course, you know, this could be male or female, but the energies of this card are very much about, you know, someone that is perhaps in a leadership role, someone of authority. It's also about, you know, taking your power, being in control of your life, but sometimes it can represent someone that is controlling. And this is what I'm talking about with, you know, this person that you're dealing with. It's, you know, it feels all about them. And there is this sense for me of them, you know, kind of controlling the connection. And, you know, that often comes up as perhaps a protection as well, because when I feel into their energies, I do feel there's some fears to kind of let go of that control and to really, you know, face whatever those fears and insecurities are in order to deepen the connection and take things to the next level. A fear to open up and have, you know, that healthy, truthful conversation. You know, sometimes it can, you know, people can feel very vulnerable having those kind of difficult, very real conversations. But somehow this is needed, you know, whatever the connection is for you, Taurus. Those conversations are very much needed in order to, you know, move things forward in a more healthy way here. And with your advice from the universe, we have the Fool. There is an invitation here for some kind of new beginning, fresh start. So the Fool often comes in at the beginning of a whole new chapter in our lives. It's the first card in the Major Arcana, the beginning of a whole new phase. And there is this invitation very much with this card around embracing the unknown, taking a leap of faith. and just approaching this new beginning, you know, in this very kind of childlike curiosity, embracing the unknown with an open heart. And with your potential outcome, we have the Chariot, which is all about you, Taurus, getting back in the driving seat of your life. It's about you holding the reins, you steering your life, navigating, you know, whatever ups and downs, you know, or challenges kind of cross your path here. And this is the invitation, this is the soul lesson here, to really look at what you are perhaps still trying to gain by perhaps compromising your boundaries, compromising, you know, your needs in this connection. So sometimes it can be, you know, particularly if it's a family member or something like that, you know, it can be about keeping the peace, keeping the harmony. But sometimes there can be a fear to do that, because there's a fear to lose love. And really, I feel like it's come to a point where, you know, it may well be for some of you that, you know, with this difficult conversation that's needed here, that there may be a whole new fresh start with your person and things do indeed shift to the next level. But for some of you, it may be time to really reevaluate and reflect, and to perhaps let go of, you know, what you no longer feel, you know, truly in alignment with here. So Taurus, I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust, you know, what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, Taurus, and I wish you a great month ahead.